Hello, everybody. Happy AHA night. We have October 8th, 2020, as we continue our quarantine edition of our open mic night, which is normally hosted at the lovely Co-Creative Center in New Bedford. So tonight we are obviously in all of your lovely homes this beautiful evening. So I've got a little bit of a list going. Please feel free, if anybody else pops in, to just drop into the chat that they would like to read this evening. So with no further ado, a man that really doesn't need any introduction on my part, where I am Bad Andy, your lovely host this evening, as Miss Sarah Jane Mulvey is celebrating her lovely anniversary with her boyfriend this evening. So with no further ado, I'm going to bring Kevin on to start this night off, all right?
Oh, you're unmuted by host. That's nice. But then unmute myself. All right. Great. Now maybe you can hear me.
Sounds
Anyway,
good.
the thumbs up was for Sarah and her beau. Congrats to them. And with that said, I guess I have one sort of spooky poem. The rest, none of it's going to be Edgar Allan Poe anyway, so this is called something spooky. Go figure. Okay. Like that guy long ago riding home on his horse in the deep country night, the marshland pasture draining far to the south past brown bears and snakes and high ground camps of fugitive slaves in the dismal swamp, maybe one county over, if that, from Nat Turner's rebellion. A cow by the fence line, in dim star and moonlight, its black body lost, the white head floating, the whole creature grazing. Guy on the horse going to a gallop hoping to get by. Okay, one more, my mom told me. Another rider, another night, out by the churchyard graves. Something like ghouls on Judgment Day, two thieves crouching, counting shares. One for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. Rider hearing rushes on. Okay, well, that's the end of the first poem. Yeah. So now we're going to go on to the next one, which has spooky things going on, but it's not a spooky poem per se. It's called Big Dam. Guy wired, aimed at the moon. Reception atmospherics read decades ago. So much ionization, so little time. Said some cartoon in Serbo-Croatian, I have a ham radio. And so do we all, wired for the bounce from ground to haze out to some other ground. Interwebs preamble, I have a ham radio and a computer. In binary and FSK, I'm guessing in the air for the long angle in. Okay, that's the end of the second poem. For those of you playing the home game. This is the third one. This is sort of copped from some Disney movie, sort of. It's called The Dark Fae. In cavern lands, IP lawyers shepherd monetized light. It will be dry this year, lawns gone brown, no need for lemonade nor gasoline. Birds are not here to sing, they live as hard as any. Songs in another, songs in another voice, even uncaged, what the world demands as do mouths. This romance is over. Only breath survives. So much scrolling down the bridal pages and porn to the shores of California. Video never joking. Crying spunk decoded and recoded births of billions. We are but creatures frail. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to hearing the next folks. That's it. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Kevin. All right, all right. Is it okay if I bring Kayla on?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Great.
Good. All right. Hello, everybody. We're together in spirit and in video. So I have something of my own that I'm going to read, and then I have a little Halloween one too. Okay, this is called The Lost Year, and it's about something, obviously, 2020. Yay! It's a little dramatic, so bear with me, but it's been a long year. Okay, it's a slow motion train wreck. I see it coming, taste blood on my tongue, feel constriction in my lungs. We have 4 walls to keep us safe. All we can do is wait, tread water until we drown. What day is it? What month? Still March? March 4th to April, the longest April. Days into weeks, into months. May we stretch into summer? Shall we ever return? I don't think I want to. Let it all fall away into oblivion, darkness, silence. White winter blankets the stillness of the lost year. We are all connected in our isolation until yellow crocus spring up from snow and we can begin anew. So that's the first one. And then I have Theme in Yellow from Carl Sandburg. And here we go. I spot the hills with yellow balls in autumn. I light the prairie cornfields, orange and tawny gold clusters, and I am called Pumpkins. On the last of October, when dusk is fallen, children join hands and circle round me, singing ghost songs and love to the harvest moon. I am a jack-o'-lantern with terrible teeth, and the children know I am fooling. That's it. Yay. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So, let's go back here. There we go. So I'm just going to read a semi, not so quick one, but this is a poem by Sarah Kay called Ghost Ship. In the 2nd grade, every song was a handful of orange Tic Tacs rolling around my tongue. I knew all the words, could feel them, tangy, round, and smooth. I didn't care which one was which. I could sing back the Beatles perfectly with the words all smashed together. I was the first one to memorize any song the music teacher sang us. My favorite was The Ghost Ship. The words meant nothing to me, but the melody was full of ragged sails and midnight hurricanes. It was all port and starboard. I sang it till the winds ran out of me. My little brother was 4 years younger, but 2 steps ahead. He memorized the shapes my mouth made, practiced them tirelessly. We shoved the words at each other as though it was a competition to see who could get them out the fastest, who could draw them out the longest, and the cold wind blew. By the time it was his turn to learn the music class, to learn it in music class 4 years later, he had already knew the song so well he confused the teacher. My fist-chested brother, a fireplace shotgun, waiting for his chance. Little girls learn how to sing The Perfect Man before we even know what the lyrics mean. Strong arms, good hair, wide eyes, brave heart, big money, kind hands. We build model ships and bottles, whispering life into toothpicks and wire. We make plans and blueprints for the one we hope is coming. And come they do, fleets of vessels, battleships and barges, they arrive on the horizon, flags to the sky. I have seen what can happen when a woman tries to make a dinghy into a galleon. Sometimes a rowboat is all you need. Sometimes a whaler, a ferry. Our model ships look perfect in their bottles, but we do not know if they are seaworthy. Sometimes the one that reaches your harbor has already been through the storm. Sometimes you cannot see the leaking until you are so close, until you are already out to sea, trying to batten down the hatches, bailing the water, pooling at your ankles, manning the rigging alone. My little brother pushed off from shore before the tide had turned his way, always 2 steps ahead. For years, I didn't want him going under. I tried to anchor him against the storms, threw him safety nets and buoys, trained myself in CPR. I have known so many men whose hulls have been made hollow by the salts of the sea, whose sails are pulled so tightly into the wind, whose rudders no longer point to anything but drowning. How do you keep a boy floating? How do you keep him above the ache? Men will drift eternal, men will say it's just a scratch. When the cannons have shot them full of holes, they will look at their tiny driftwood tied with strings and say ship. They will look at the broken wheel between their hands and say captain. They will look to the men who have jumped overboard without them and say crew. Today my brother is 20 years handsome. He is smirk and motor, femur strong and decision heavy. His decks have been worn down by the feet of others, but his compass always points north. I can hear the cabin creak, the chains rattle, the ladders sag. It has been a decade since I heard him sing. We are in Ireland, a country which we have never been. I have rented us a car. I cannot drive and have been gracelessly maneuvering us through the green countryside, toward the cliffs of the western coast. The rain is a diligent mother who checks in on us every few hours. The sky is endless gray. My brother's quiet fills the car like a family holiday. I turn on the radio to mask the fog. The coast arrives beneath us suddenly, the way all shorelines do. Full and vast, crumbling away at our stubborn solidness. And there, standing against the crashing sea, sits this massive body of a shipwreck, as though all of history has been gifted to us. We are giddy with adventure. We are skipping over the rocks, shouting to the wild horses and the ocean's roar. The jagged porthole opens to us. We pull ourselves into the boat's hungry mouth. It is empty and whole. Full speed ahead, proud to stern, fore and aft. We climb until we are scraped and muddy, rust children with lighthouse eyes, and together we start to sing the words we have known since childhood, as though they have been drifting through us, lost at sea, waiting for the right current to find safe harbor. Oh brother, no matter the wreckage, there will be someone to find you beautiful. Despite your cruddy metal, your ruin is not to be hidden beneath paint and canvas. Let them see the cracks. Someone will come to sing into these empty spaces. Their voice will echo off of your insides like a second grader. And her little brother, 4 years younger, 2 steps ahead, singing till the metal vibrates, till the ghost ship rings. So right now, I just have Maggie. Are you good to go?
Hi. I have two here. They're they actually, I didn't realize we were doing a creepy theme, but they are kind of creepy.
No,
so.
that's fine.
So it should work. The first one has a really boring title, so I'm not going to read it until I come up with a better one. It starts with abandoned textile mills, rose up in crumbling brick facade, hung over the toxic river. Make of that what you will. Of course, there's an elevator, the rickety kind with the gate you close yourself, like the one I rode with my grandfather up to his brother's printing shop. There's another one, dead relatives, a few of those, who are sometimes not cognizant of the metaphysical warp they've endured. Eventually, I'll remember it for them just before I wake up. There I go again, confounding dreams with poems. Don't worry about the form. The words drop into that themselves. There'll be some shuffling down the line, and then the arrival of those insipid birds, black crows or starlings, magpies heckling from the rafters, snapping their beak on bits of my own trite mythologies. Nothing important to say to anyone else until they see themselves the blight of crumbling brick spread out like oil spilled west from failed New England cotton towns across the land, each bulldozed field upending shuttered shopping malls, conveyances within, unearthing coffins of their own dead relatives from less than final rests. Open the lid and thrust your hand down deep to the dense core center, pit of the peach. Start from the middle, build up and down concurrently, above, below, till it puffs and swells like the breast of a fledgling wren. I told you they'd get back in. At the end, you stand in an empty room, unsure of what to say. You stammer a bit, give up, stomp out, and kill the lights. When the door slams shut behind you, there's nothing but silence. After a while, the walls begin to speak. And this one's called Travel Journal, Tennessee. From a backroads detour, me and the Marrow Man dangled our tails off a squat concrete bridge, got bit round the ears by black flies. For months, my body caved in on itself. A strange thing like hunger racked my skeletal ribs. His cocked hat pulled me down to the black whorls below. When the last of my language circled my orbital sockets, I opened my mouth. He stopped speaking, his pupils an opiate swirl. At 3 a.m., I wept alone in the bath of a Memphis hotel. The only way out, to dive down the drain pipe through turns of the plumbing. A cavern opened up. I entered a room filled with light. Not Bluebeard's cave, no severed heads of ex-lovers, no terrible secrets here, just a fistful of souls in their cages, once netted, now boxed up with scavenger goods from the floor of the sea. My body eked toward the souls that were flapping about in their bowls near the lobster pots hung on the wall. I picked the cage locks with my teeth. The ghost shot up a vacuum through pipes, spilling out strangers' faucets to Sunday morning, slipping through fingers of maids, pulling tangles of hair from the drains, swilling up the toilets in reverse. I can't say what compelled me to commit the act. The souls were complacent at least. Now they rise through the air thick with trouble, exhaust from the cars on Beale Street, old gas belched from the gut of the dirty man, asleep like a fish in the road.
Thank you so much. So I just want to kind of run by as we're kind of coming to a close on our first round. Is there anyone else who would like to read on this this first go through? So just kind of, well, just in case anybody's thinking about it, I'm going to read one more Sarah Kay poem as I constantly come back to this one. It kind of holds a lot of special places and moments for me. So this is Sarah Kay's extended development. It didn't always work this way. There was a time you had to get your hands dirty, when you were in the dark for most of it. Fumbling was a given, when you needed more contrast, more saturation, darker darks, and the brightest brights. They called it extended development. It meant you spent longer time up to your wrists, longer time inhaling chemicals. It wasn't always easy. Grandpa Stewart was a Navy photographer, young, red-faced with his sleeves rolled up, fists full of fingers like fat rolls of coins. In photographs, he looked like Popeye the Sailor Man had come to life. Crooked smile, tuft of chest hair. He showed up to World War II with a smirk and a hobby. They asked him if he had much experience with photography, and he lied. He learned to read Europe upside down from the height of a fighter plane, camera snapping, eyelids flapping, the darkest darks and the brightest brights. He learned war like it was a map, though he could read his way home. When other men returned, they put their weapons out to rust, but he carried the lenses and the cameras home with him, opened up a shop, turned it into a family affair. My father was born into a world of black and white. His basketball hands learned the tiny clicks and slides of lens into frame, film into camera, chemicals into plastic bins. His father knew the equipment, but not the art. He knew the darks, but not the brights. My father learned the magic, spent his time following light. Once he flew halfway across the country to follow a forest fire, hunted it with his camera. Follow the light, he said. Follow the light. There are parts of me I only recognize from photographs. The loft in Soho on Wooster Street with creaky hallways and 12-foot ceilings, white walls and cold floors. This was my mother's home. Before she was mother, before she was wife, she was artist. The only two rooms of the house with walls that reached up to the ceilings and doors that could open and close were the bathroom and the dark room. The dark room she made herself with custom-made stainless steel sinks for washing prints, washing film, an 8x10 bed enlarger that moved up and down by a giant hand crank. A bank of color-balanced lights, a white glass wall for viewing prints, a handmade drying rack that folded in and out from the wall. My mother built herself a dark room, made it her home, fell in love with a man with basketball hands, with the way he looked at light. They got married, had a baby, moved into a house near a park, but they kept a loft on Wooster Street for birthday parties and treasure hunts. The baby tipped the grayscale, filled her parents' photo albums with red balloons and yellow icing. The baby grew into a girl without freckles, with a crooked smile. She didn't understand why her friends did not have dark rooms in their houses. She never saw her parents kiss, and she never saw them hold hands. But one day, another baby showed up. This one with perfect straight hair and bubblegum cheeks. They named him Sweet Potato. And he laughed so loudly, he scared the pigeons on the fire escape. The four of them lived in the house near the park. The girl without freckles, the sweet potato boy, the basketball father, and the dark room mother. And they lit their candles and said their prayers, and the corners of the photographs curled. One day, some towers fell, and the house near the park became a house under ash, so they escaped in backpacks on bicycles to dark rooms, but the loft on Wooster Street was built for an artist, not for a family of pigeons. And walls that do not reach the ceilings do not hold in the yelling, so the man with basketball hands put his weapons out to rust. He could not go to war, and no maps pointed home. His hands did not fit his wife's, did not fit the camera, did not fit his body. The sweet potato boy mashed his fists into his mouth until he had nothing more to say. The girl without freckles went treasure hunting on her own. And on Wooster Street in Soho, in the building with the creaky hallways, in the loft with the white walls in the dark room with too many sinks underneath the color-balanced lights, she found a note tacked onto the wall with a thumbtack, left over from a time before towers, from a time before babies. And the note said, "A guy sure loves a girl that works in the dark room." It took a year for my father to pick up a camera again. His first time out, he followed the Christmas lights, dotting their way through New York City's trees, little flashing, winking at him from out of the darkest darks. A few years later, he flew across the country to follow a forest fire. It was ravaging the West Coast, eating eight-wheeler trucks in its stride. He stayed for a week, hunting it with his camera. On the other side of the country, I went to class and wrote a poem in the margins of my notebook. We have both learned the art of capture. Maybe we are both learning the art of embracing. Maybe we are learning the art of letting go. Thank you. So if it is okay with everyone, if you will indulge me, I was going to read a couple of mine now at this point where I feel it is the close of round one. If anyone has anything they would like to possibly read on a round two, please feel free to let me know in the chat. So this was a piece I actually was kind of working on today. Doesn't really have a title yet, so we're just gonna kind of let it ride. Brother, or at least the closest to brother that I've ever really known. Growing up, brother from another mother, sister of my mother, auntie. I'm sure you're to blame for my toilet humor and sometimes my overzealous cursing, but I don't give a fuck. I idolized you until I got mad and I didn't want to be cousin anymore. We both know that's not how it works, but still. In this current moment we're in, I wish I could be there in more of a capacity instead of 1,000 miles away, looking onto memories like we were looking for Lukenbach, in search of pit barbecue, in search of memories, the things that really make us family. Thank you. So, today is always tends to be a little difficult, as we normally kind of do our aha around the anniversary of my mother. Today it just happens to be to the day. So the next one that I'm going to go into is from the Greatest Hits catalog, which is Missed. There are things that you miss, that you missed, that amidst all the fits of trying to fit all of this into your life, that you swear you're doing what's right, and you want to call it quits when things get tight. Vice grip. I want this pipe fitting to fit this pipeline, this tightrope that I walk fine line. I swear I get it from her. That infectious laughter that cut through a room like a hot knife through butter. Carry golden. Can't tell you how many times growing up used to be called the golden child. Heard it through the grapevine, growing wild. We used to grow grapes in Brock Vegas. Not one of those things that made us. Not one of those things that made me miss you. How you would endlessly toil in the earth that for what it's worth taught me that from the simplest seed with tenderness it can indeed grow into something worth harvesting. And I'm tired, Mom, of always trying to put this face on, you know, that fake one, the one that doesn't shed tears, that's always shifting gears, moving and shaking, popping like bacon. But what if all it is faking? Fake it till you make it. What if it's all made out of bullshit? Sometimes I know bullshit gets toiled back into it to make it richer. Compost, fertile land. The missing element is the man made. The two it takes to make one, the born son. The one or two it takes to shape one. And I wanted you to see it, even though the it will always be in transit transformation. From my active participation, milestones will be hit and shattered. But in the end, all that really would have mattered is that you wouldn't have missed all of this. That all of this is for something, someone. And sometimes those fine lines get blurry. We're always in a hurry, flurry of events. I wish every reference to you wasn't past tense. Thank you. So I guess that kind of really concludes our first round. If anybody would like to read anything, does not have to be. We didn't really have like a spooky theme kind of lined up. It just happens to be October, which obviously begins our fall session which also lends to that it is 2 years of us at Anomaly Poetry doing this AHA spoken word open mic that we obviously have been doing in collaboration with the Co-Creative Center and Dina Hayden. So from me to all of you, I appreciate all of you that have stuck with us and have shown up and read your poems, read other people's poems, and kind of just kept this beautiful thing going. So thank you all so much for that. And then obviously that Anomaly Poetry is myself, Miss Sarah Mulvey, and the lovely Nick LeBlanc. And obviously Sarah and Nick make up our publishing portion, which is Domesticated Primates, as we kind of start leaning into these colder months that will kind of lead us to our second publication, which technically is, if we really want to get, I don't know, I guess chronologically, I don't think is the right word that I'm looking for, but we did start publishing or doing a collection with Tidings versus Rituals. So this will be our third edition of Tidings. We're going to start opening up submissions for that November 1st, where you can submit to either Sarah or Nick. And that's not necessarily holiday themed, but whether it's winter, holiday, your love or your despise for either, that's kind of the overall theme that we are looking for Tidings. So yeah, I really appreciate all y'all being here. I'm just gonna kind of unmute everybody. So how are we doing, everybody? I feel like I just didn't want to feel like I was rambling on.
Hello. There's too much silence.
Is there anybody that wants to read anything else, whether it's theirs, whether it's somebody else's?
Cynthia.
Yes, I do. Yep.
Okay. I kept asking you in the chat. I'm not sure if you just.
I know. I finally figured out how to reply. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So do you, are you ready to go? Can I bring you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's do that. And Cynthia.
Okay.
I think we're good. Beautiful.
All right. Can y'all hear me? All righty. Okay. This is more of a sci-fi kind of poem, but it's called Betrayal. You can't imagine the peak experience of hurtling through the sulfurous air directly into the round, live eye of an active volcano, several smoking miles below. Pushed by your husband off the transport bay, watched by your mutual son and their consort, once your friend, now your secret rival. As the descending microseconds pass, air becomes warmer. In such moments, you wonder if your spirit will survive. If perhaps you can swim through swirling hot lava, you determine to try. Was that, Gaia, where we first met? Did you realize the might flailing in your bloodstream was sentient and decide to transform my otherworldliness into your own august realm? We come too, eons later, as a good-natured mountain, 3,000 feet tall, still smoking off the coast, our toes firmly grasping the cool, curling sea, our fiery hair blistering the starry sky. The next poem is called The Returned. And it starts out with a little caveat. Note, although reports of dolphins returning to the canals of Venice are not currently true, poetic license has been used to ask the question, what if? The Returned. We wondered what it was like after 70 revolutions of our sun had painted exquisite watercolors upon the shallow, aqueous palette of lagoon. From seabed, this cluster of gray stone islands rises, absurdly connected by high arches and shelved slabs of descending granite. Mostly treeless, save for tall spires or perfectly rounded hills of stone. We thought perhaps it was a sacred place. So many of them came, then went away. We have sacred caves like that, where we dedicate our young. But why let those high, white, floating islands nigh to follow the waters of this precious site? Our ancestral song tells of a time when too many of our kind were chopped up by their sharp fins. We decided it was not a safe place to play or have young, so it was shunned. Yet one day, soft water currents murmured that their churning royal stink and clatter were nearly gone. We began to pursue tasty fish closer to the deserted stone quays, while the tide's waters sweetened and cleared away debris. Today, spurred by fishy pursuits, we swam to an open channel and entered. Its sinuous course was sprinkled with white sands, mottled by jeweled reflections from the graceful stone cliffs that lined this grand canal and its tributaries. We heard an ancient singing that was not our own. The sun's rays magnified odd items discarded at the bottom. We know some words of their language. Saber, scabola, boot, stivale, cannon, cannone, and gondola. Underneath the roots of the smaller islands, where young fish frolic, we played flip tag among several mounds of greeny bones. We agree it is a place like no other and will return, perhaps to stay. As the sun melts into today's watercolors, we wonder what fate befell them. Famine, perhaps, or wars, or an illness like the ones we've had that make us forget ourselves or how to swim. They seem to like to play. Some of them cut us free of their nets as we tried to save them from drowning. But all in all, we are relieved they're gone. Tomorrow, on the Grand Channel, our tails curled forward, all beaks held up in praise, we dance to rise the dawn. Thank you.
Cynthia, thank you. So that will fully conclude our first round. Is there anybody else? Let me just unmute everybody. So is there anybody else that would like to read anything? Either theirs, somebody else's, just to see if anybody would like to do a second round. Yay, nay, anybody?
Sure. Why not?
Kevin, you'd like to go?
I don't have anything. What I read before was pretty short, and what I have to read now is even shorter. So,
That's okay.
so that's good, right?
Yeah, we're
Someone
just gonna
told
let
me
it ride.
half as long, twice as good. I really like I like the poems that people read that have these substantial lengths and like have these big worlds that they bring you into because, well, you know, that's a good thing. Thank you for that. Sorry, I can't return the favor. It's gonna be gnomic is all get out. So that's gonna be what I'm gonna put on the side of the van with like spray paint. Gnomic is all get out. All right. It's going to be right beside Mickey and Mickey Mouse dressed up as the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Anyway, because that's how we roll. So this one's called Beach Seasons. Beach season's pretty over. Low tide, one tributary has dozens of small crabs, like sea bugs. Chitinous, sideways skittering beetles or on or near the shoreline, many have one large claw, having lost the other and still regrowing however that works. Lots of little holes in the sand. Lots of little holes in the sand. Theirs. At low tide, topside, scattering. And that's it. And that's how it's going to roll from now on. That might be the that might be the longest one. So this one's called "Come to Singularity." Old modems will sing you lullabies. What Woody said, smiling. What you don't want to hear. Bedtime, bedtime, bedtime. It's now what else? Wake up, wake up, wake up. Tuning up to the sound of sunrise. See you there at River's Edge. That's the end of that one. And so here's the third one. Also quite short. Sneeze and you won't hear it. Get spun. On the wall of death, voices break the ones who use them. The pretty ones, Rich and Linda, bleed across the rusted line. Common thieves here steal their sound, keep it bright while the sun still shines, keep it bright, waiting for the dark to drop. Okay, and now I'm looking forward to somebody reading something that takes a lot more than 35 seconds.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I'm gonna read a kind of quicker one from Sarah Kay. Not necessarily spooky, but whenever I think just kind of within the theme of Halloween, I also think of costumes, and that was kind of where I was going with the ghost ship piece. So this is Sarah Kay's Astronaut. I see the moon sees me, the moon sees somebody that I don't see. God bless the moon, and God bless me. God bless somebody that I don't see. If I get to heaven before you do, I'll make a hole and pull you through. I'll write your name on every star, and that way the world won't seem so far. The astronaut will not be at work today. He has called in sick. He has turned off his cell phone, his laptop, his pager, his alarm clock. There's a fat yellow cat on his couch. Rain against the windows, and not even a hint of coffee in the kitchen air. Everyone is in a tizzy. The engineers on the 15th floor have stopped working on their particle machine. The anti-gravity room is leaking, and even the freckled kid with glasses, whose only job is to clean out the trash, is nervous, fumbles the bag, spills a banana peel and a paper cup. Nobody notices. They are too busy recalculating what this means for lost time. How many galaxies are we losing per minute? How long before the next rocket can be launched? Somewhere an electron flies off of its energy cloud. A black hole has erupted. A mother has finished setting the table for dinner. A Law and Order marathon is starting. The astronaut is asleep. He has forgotten to turn off his watch, which ticks against his wrist like a metal pulse. He does not hear it. He dreams of coral reefs and plankton. His fingers find the pillowcase, sailing masts. He turns on his side, opens his eyes once. He thinks that scuba divers must have the most wonderful job in the world. So much water to glide through. Thank you.
Nice.
Oh, we have a little late arrival over here, I think.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Sarah.
What's up? Hi, everybody.
Hi, Sarah.
Good to see you all. How's everybody?
Good.
Very good. Am I super late to the party? Were you guys wrapping up?
We were just kind of doing second round robin. I was gonna have Cynthia go, and maybe if that would give you a little time, if you'd like to maybe partake a little bit.
Yes, I'd appreciate the time.
All right. So
Please call your next
Cynthia.
poet.
All right. Good. Okay.
All right. Let me just do
All
this
righty.
quick. Cynthia, unmute. You should be good to go, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Great.
Okay, good. This is part of the continuing nature poems that I'm writing. It's called "And Yet She Smiles." I heard on the news today that you have collapsed. No doubt your great heart could not take the accumulated strain. As my mother, your children have betrayed you. As my sister, you've been gang raped. As my love, I am an unworthy suitor, ashamed to be even partly related to them, their greed, their lies, their dispassionate hatred of anything they cannot control. Yes, I admit I am distraught, not thinking clearly. But that is what we need to lead with the heart. And still, you rise every day, aching to go about your business as best you can. Asking winds to whisk clouds into mare's tails, you convene the swallow's precision flight. Explode the goldenrod in purple asters. Trace endless water patterns for a soul fishing cormorant. It goes on and on, these trillion daily miracles, despite it all, and yet you smile. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's.
Thank you.
You good
Hi,
to go,
everybody.
Sarah?
I am good. I'm ready if you are.
Beautiful.
All right. Hi, everybody. Okay, so late arrival, but I am prepared. Yay. I'm going to read you a quick one that I wrote. I've read it before, but it's in the spirit of Halloween. So I'm going to read it for you again. I don't have a title for this one yet, so I got to sit on that for a little while, but here it goes. My dear girl, why are you so afraid? Does your heart not burn, light and blooded as the fire? Join your sisters, shed thy smock, dance naked before the flame. Let it heal you, warm, neglected, shut away secrets of your skin. Wouldst thou not live deliciously in sin and revelry, love and ecstasy? Come away from the deep shadows, step into my brilliant circle, dance in the light, revel in the roll of your hips, the heat of your breast, for that is where we live, ruled by our hearts and all that quickens it. I will guide thy hand. Your name is all I ask, your name in my book, and your unending love. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And let's see, I have one new one for you. If you've heard me read the other poem by this title, you kind of know what you're in for. This is another one that I've titled Aisling, which is a Gaelic girl's name, meaning dream or vision. Aisling. What will you keep of me? My innumerable notebooks, all those scraps of notes tucked in. Will you cherish them, even with my terrible scrawl? My mother's handwriting is beautiful. I can't make such a promise to you. But I will fill your birthday cards with pronouncements of my love, and you'll throw away years 10 through 21, I know, and you'll deeply regret it at 25. I never saw myself as alive past 25. Another thing I don't want you to inherit. I always questioned how I would keep going in the state I was surviving in. Then I fell in love for the first time. And once that happens, love, a lifetime does not feel long enough. The heart keeps stretching, pulling in more. Love, pain, there's just so much room. Why should I burden you with this? Memories, a legacy, my birthday, our wedding anniversary, my favorite coat, my rings. How can I, knowing the knot it makes of the insides, the clawing of grief at the throat? No, sweet girl, I won't do this to you. A gift of life with the weight of me well after I'm gone. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have just unmuted everyone. I just wanted to make sure that everybody that had or that wanted to go has gone.
Everyone?
Or we kind of wrap up for the evening.
I can do another one, Andy.
Maggie?
Yeah.
Maggie has another one.
All right, all right, all right. Let's give it up for Maggie.
This one's called Here No Bird Appears. When his head hit the pavement, the Faraday cage of his skull split. A couple of birds flew out. A spray of blood and bone sank to the dark of the earth. Doctors glued the pieces back kintsugi-like, the cracked shards fused with gold, which might have worked if not for the handful left over that wouldn't fit, if not for the difference in conductivity, if not for the piezoelectric properties of bone. The face and body looked the same, but parts of him were gone. Small things ended up in the wrong place. The left and right hand index fingers switched. One eye hung higher in the socket than it had the week before. Like an ocular migraine where words disappear as they meet the eyes, his edges started to fade. Obscured, we thought at first, and pulled our faces back to look for them, recalling the bird flown out of the magic eye picture that was, just moments ago, a jumble of bramble. But here no bird appeared, just branching lines all fixed in grooves. See alveoli sucking oxygen from air, roots sucking water from the ground, sky sucking bits of a ghost from the place where the rock hit the skull, leaving in that space a darkness absurd in a memory that holds so much light. Imagine this. One day you drive your car to work, turn on a computer, crunch numbers, reports. You walk a path to meet a friend for lunch. You go home, tell your wife of the new and awful president, the joke a colleague told. You go outside, toss a ball back and forth with your kids. The next, the pedals in the car have switched from brake to gas. The traffic lights shine blue. You try a dozen keys before the office lock will click. At home, your wife wears faces not her own. You spit the food back on your plate. You take the kids back to the yard. The brain says arm, reach for the ball in space. Light splits from wave to particle. The balls traverse the span from eye to brain in a stutter of pulses instead of an arc. Between them, the hand grabs the air, a fistful of no. Is this how it goes when the head cracks, when bits of self diverge to earth and sky? It's always more than simple blood and bone. If this were a poem instead of a tragedy, the wise and tricky birds would know. They'd swoop in to collect and hold the precious bits until the man returned, undone by death or happenstance, to trade them back in trinkets for the rest. A golden ring, a necklace made of children's teeth, a daughter's chocolate frog. Once done, the gilded cage would close for good. The man would get back on his bike, his skull intact, to ride the corner slow this time, then up the hill to home. He'd hang the bike back on its hook, unclip the helmet, fingers on the hands where they belong. He'd grip the wobbly doorknob tight and turn, chiaroscuro of the day's last light behind him, fireflies buzzing at his feet.
Thank you so much. So I'm just going to go into a quick one, and I think that's going to possibly be it, unless anybody wants to just pop into the chat and let me know if there's anything they want to read. So this is called Sling Babe after Switchblade. I like me some of those hot fried mozzarellas. But 8 pounds in a harness, in 4-foot lead, tucked into black hoodie, was trajectory, was found to be fabric store policy to make the days of cashier, of dog trainer lady, of deciding to buy sling at said pet store, to then buy fancy treats from fancy pet store that are enjoyed by moody tortie, to go day drinking at a bar with secret cat, to be perceived as in a sling by a bartender, for everyone to perceive Sling Baby as so chill, making the day of the engaged yogis, bartending elite, one-eyed, three-toothed Sling Baby bar cats are better than bar pups. Yeah, whatever. Thank you.
Yay.
So I feel that that will kind of conclude our evening of Anomaly Poetry October edition, brought to you by your ghostly host, Bad Andy, as Sarah is going to enjoy the rest of her evening with her lovely boo and celebrate their anniversary upon the anniversary of Anomaly Poetry. And as we lead into fall evenings, which will then lead into colder evenings, which at the beginning of November we will be accepting poems for our Tidings publication, which is put together by the lovely Sarah Mulvey and Nick LeBlanc, and we will then obviously schedule the release of Tidings along with some probably more Zoom readings, as this has kind of been our MO. But from your lovely hosts, I love and appreciate all of you for hanging out with us, for constantly coming and even in this Zoom platform to still just do the thing, that even though it definitely does feel different than when we are all together and can truly embrace one another, that this is what we got, and unlike our president, we're willing to do the thing, so that way we can keep doing the thing, and it's okay. It's not a huge deal. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate all of you immensely.
Yes, thank you guys. I just want to second that. This makes 2 years that we've been doing open mics. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, because this has become a place where I feel like I can get a little therapy session going without paying someone hourly to talk to them. But no, I deeply appreciate everybody that comes in when we're in person and when we're on the virtual, Zoom room. It means a lot to me that you guys keep coming back and that you have fun and that you trust us with your poems and with your work. So thank you so much, and have a good night. Happy Halloween. And then we'll see you again for AHA Night in November, which is going to be November 12th. We'll see you back here in the Zoom room, 11/12.
Same bad time, same bad channel, or maybe earlier, because I probably won't be hosting it. So at least same channel.
Same channel, maybe a little earlier.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.